All right, folks. Our group this afternoon, we're going to talk about a few technology tools that you can use in the classroom. I'm Paxton, and I'm going to be speaking about electronic ink.
I'm Kelly, and I'm going to be talking to you about Spritz.
I'm Caitlin, and I'll be talking to you about Newslo.com.
All right, electron ink, also referred to as Circuit Scribe. Circuit Scribe is a ballpoint pen containing silver conductive ink that can be used to draw circuits instantly on flexible substrates like paper. This was something that made its way onto Kickstarter in November of 2003 and was able to actually raise enough money by November of 2013, and was able to actually raise enough money by December of 2013 to actually get their first batch of pens in. With these boards, you can order them in all types of different kits, ranging from $25 on up. With each of these kits, they're going to contain a ballpoint pen, an LED model, and then batteries to go along with it. With these, what you would do is you take the ballpoint pen, definitely different than a number 2 pencil, and then you would draw circles onto a little piece of paper and then connect them with other circles. And then you would actually be able to take these batteries and put them on the pieces of paper to see if you were getting a current that was running from the batteries to the little module that you put on the plates. Any questions from either of you?
How would you give me an example of how you would use this with your students in a classroom?
With this, you'd be able to use it just to get them to understand the current and how to set something up without having to bring in an actual circuit board that you'd have to take out of a computer, and just with a lot less parts for you and a lot more entertaining for the student to be able to do as well.
So really it's making circuits much more interesting to young children because they can work hands-on, and it's making it a lot safer. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. A lot more fun for the students, so with a lot less parts to go along with it, a lot easier to understand.
I think that's really neat. If a kid could sit at their desk and light up a light bulb with a battery and a pen, I think that's really cool. I would love to use that in my classroom.
Exactly, and I actually saw an example on here as well of somebody had drawn almost like a town that was on a sheet of paper, and what they did was underneath the paper is where they had their circuit scribe set up and actually had a little light bulb lit up, and where it was on their paper with the city, it looked like one of the building lights was lit up for them.
Oh, see, and I think for young kids that would be so exciting. I think they'd really love that.
Oh yeah, it was definitely entertaining for them.
Are there any other benefits you think there are for using these in your classroom?
Well, this is also one that, a lot of people would probably view it as something for older kids, but the ones that older kids are using, they're actually doing this with actually soldering things together, whereas you can use this for the young kids with no problems, because all it is it's literally a pen and paper. And it's not even really that special, a very special kind of paper. All they really say is the best one is going to be your Epson Ultra Premium Luster photo paper. So it's just other paper that you use to print out pictures anyway.
So it sounds like it's much cheaper and much more safe for the young kids.
Definitely.
I think that's great. Okay, I am going to talk about Spritz, which is an online technology tool. It was first released to the public in February 2014 at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, so it's fairly new. And in order to use this program, you go to the Spritz website and you click and drag the Spritz icon up into your bookmark tool. And then when you're on a web page that you want to use it on, you click on the little Spritz bookmark and it will pop up with a window. And what this window does is it will flash one word at a time, and you can set a pace, and it will flash all the words on the page to keep you focused and to keep you reading quickly. And it also is color-coded to make sure your attention stays right where it's supposed to be. And like I said, you can set the pace. So for a student who's maybe having some trouble, you can set them down to 100 or 150 words per minute. Whereas a student who's advancing, you could set them up to 300 words per minute. The tool actually goes all the way up to 700 words per minute, which is practically inhuman, but it's still really neat to see. So this tool is really great for students because it will help them stay focused, stay on task, and keep reading at an appropriate pace. Um, when Spritz was created, their mission was to change the way people engage with content in the digital age. It's supposed to keep the reader more focused and more efficient. And it also helps the reader access their content faster with less effort across any device. So they're available on desktops, they're available on smartphones, and just about any other kind of technology. Um, the Spritz was created to solve key challenges faced by readers, and it is available in more than 20 languages and is used in over 50 countries. So this could also be a really great tool for students who are English language learners. I think it's a really great program. I downloaded it on my computer, and it definitely helps me stay on task when I'm researching things and stay focused. So I really like it, and I would really recommend it for use in classrooms.
What do you think are the ways that you can use that in your classroom specifically?
If I was giving my student an assignment where I wanted them to look at something on a computer screen, I know how students can get, like, you put them in front of a computer and there's so many things. They have the internet, the whole internet to search. There's games, they get distracted, they look around the room. So what this really does is it's one word at a time. So you have to focus and you have to stay looking right where it is or you're going to miss the word. So I think it really if I was doing an activity with students where they had to do a significant amount of reading on a computer screen, I would definitely use Spritz to keep them focused, keep them on task, and make sure everybody gets done in a reasonable amount of time.
I think that's a good thing because I know that when I try and do homework on my computer, I'm constantly looking at a million other different things.
Yep, I do the same thing.
It takes me much longer to do something than it would if I could just focus on that one thing. So
Yep.
I think that's a good tool.
I have my email up and my social media, and so with this, really, you can't look away because if you do look away, you're going to miss it. So I think it's definitely a great tool to help students focus.
Yeah, I like that as well, especially to help maybe. I think it would help to build a student's confidence with their reading as well.
Definitely. And it's very informative. Like, it really, when you turn it on, it'll tell you set how many words per minute you want it to read or to flash. And so it tells you what level you're reading at. And when you first open it up, it starts at 250 words per minute, which is, I think, a good average for people to be reading. And if you find yourself not being able to catch up, you need to slow it down. That's a personal little red flag that, oh, maybe I need to practice some reading more, practice on my own to get a little quicker because I'm not quite up to par. Or it can be, if a student opens it and it's at 250 words per minute and they're, sitting here thinking, God, this is so slow. That's another great thing for them to know is, wow, I'm advancing in reading, and that's great for them. So I think it's also very informative.
Yeah, that's why I like that. It's almost, a self-challenge. You're hitting the 250. Now let's see next week if I can hit the 300.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly like a little personal challenge, and I would think it's a way for kids to make reading a little more fun.
All right, so newsflow.com is a website that reports on all relevant news for students. It covers everything from war, science, it has kids' activities, it handles economics, law, health, art, and even sports. And it's tools that teachers and parents can use to keep their kids up to date on current events. Teachers can create a class web page where students can access articles chosen by the teacher, and the teacher can also create assignments and quizzes to be completed online by the students. It's a good tool for students to be able to go home and interact with, and it's also a way that parents can see what their kids are doing in school. And what's even more interesting about Newsla is that it's differentiated for readers of different levels. On the right side of each article, there is a tab that has 5 different options for reading levels that once you click on it, it reveals a different version of the article to match the ability level of that reader. That way, if you're first accessing the article and you feel like the words are too difficult or if you feel like it's too much at one time, you can pick the lower version and it's easier for you to read, or vice versa. If you think the version that you're reading is too easy, then you can pick a more advanced version. This way, teachers can keep students globally aware while also assuring that all students are being reached at their current reading level. Parents and students can also access the class webpage at home, and this tool is a great way to keep students connected with the changing world, and it keeps pace with the digital age.
What would you say are, I understand the benefits for students, but what would you say are some of the benefits for teachers using Newsla?
The benefits for teachers are you can check the progress of students on the website so you can see who's completing what and at what level they're doing that. So it allows you to see um, what level your students are at so that way you can further differentiate instruction for them or give them extra help. Or if you see ones that are super advanced, you can give them extra things to do. So it's a way for you to kind of track their progress.
That sounds great. It sounds like it's a great way to make sure none of your students are bored because it's too easy, but none of your students are really frustrated because it's too hard.
Yeah, it's definitely a good tool to reach everyone at whatever level they're at. I think that's a really good thing about it.
I think that sounds great. I would definitely consider using that in my classroom.
And it seems like you'd still be able to get the understanding from the shorter one where it's more condensed as much as you get from the longer ones. But it feels like you can still progress through each one, learning more and more without getting overwhelmed by the large one right off the get-go.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like what you said with Spritz, where if you are a struggling reader, you can start at a lower level and then you can kind of test yourself and try and move up within the articles so you can see if you can get more from the article. I think that's definitely a good kind of scaffolding tool for kids.
I also love that it's a news site, so I feel a lot of times younger students especially seem to really be out of touch with the big global issues that are going on in the world. And so I think it would be really great to be able to use these news articles in your class. Like, I want to teach younger grades, so you teach all the classes, and so I would love to be able to bring in an article for a history class. Like, I think that would be so fascinating for the kids to see, this is what's going on in the world right now. But that's very tricky to do normally because it's hard to print a newsletter or newspaper like kind of article and bring it in for 6 or 7 year olds because they're not really going to understand. So I think this is a really great tool to help in history class especially.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good because you want to you want to build up globally aware students. You want them to go out into the world and know what's going on and things like that because I feel when I was going through grade school, I don't think I knew anything that was going on. So I think that that's really important and I think it's also a good way to make kids like digitally aware because we are in a digital age and they need to know how to use these things and I think that it would just make it easier for them to stay connected with what's going on.
And like just off of what Kelly was saying, with the students in there, with them using that as opposed to, you print out a regular newspaper article and it could be, 2 pages long where you're going to lose, the student's going to look at 2 pages and just be like, I'm not going to suffer through all this. But then you go to the one that's more condensed and it's like 2 paragraphs, like, okay, now maybe they're not getting every single detail, but at least like you're saying with the news, they're getting a little bit of history going on, so they're getting an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, that's great. I would definitely love to use these in my history classes. I think it's a great tool. I really like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think all three of these are going to definitely be getting used in my classroom.
Yep. So we talked about 3 really great technology tools today, and I hope whoever's listening consider using them in your own classroom or even just for your own children because I think they're really great tools, and I think they can really help build students' confidence and awareness and excitement about learning. I think they're really great tools, so I hope you consider using them.